It's an issue with our industry for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Bubba, being in the fighting game community is a hot take for anybody watching.
If you're feeling uncomfortable, imagine how often and how regularly the person you're trying to stand up for feels that way, and they don't even say anything to initiate it. They just are, and someone's attacking them for who they are without even being provoked.
Welcome to Invite Sent. We are a live streaming show where we interview people and play video games.
Help is on the way, dear.
Did he make it in? Did he get all 20? Yes, way to go. If you'd like to be on Invite Sent, be interviewed, and play video games, please go to bubbagatter.com and request to be on the show. And I'll let you know if the invite is sent. Yeah, get
In the fighting game community is a hot take for anybody watching.
If you're feeling uncomfortable,
get him.
there you go.
Welcome to Invite Sent. Oh, boom! It's an issue with our industry for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Bubba, being in the fighting game community is a hot take for anybody watching.
If you're feeling uncomfortable, imagine how often and how regularly the person you're trying to stand up for feels that way, and they don't even say anything to initiate it. They just are, and someone's attacking them for who they are without even being provoked.
Welcome to Invite Sent. We are a live streaming show where we interview people and play video games.
Help is on the way, dear.
Did he make it in? Did he get all 20? Yes, way to go. If you'd like to be on Invite Sent, be interviewed, and play video games, please go to bubbagatter.com and request to be on the show. And I'll let you know if the invite is sent. Yeah, get him.
There you go.
Welcome to Invite Sent. Oh, boom! It's an issue with our industry for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Bubba, being in the fighting game community is a hot take for anybody watching.
If you're feeling uncomfortable, imagine how often and how regularly the person you're trying to stand up for feels that way, and they don't even like say anything to initiate it. They just are, and someone's attacking them for who they are without even being provoked.
Welcome to Invite Sent. We are a live streaming show where we interview people and play video games.
Help is on the way, dear.
Did he make it in? Did he get all 20? Yes, way to go. If you'd like to be on Invite Sent, be interviewed, and play video games, please go to bubbagatter.com and request to be on the show. And I'll let you know if the invite is sent. Yeah, get him.
There you go.
Welcome to Invite Sent. Oh, boom. It's an issue with our industry for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Bubba, being in the fighting game community is a hot take for anybody watching.
If you're feeling uncomfortable, imagine how often and how regularly the person you're trying to stand up for feels that way, and they don't even like say anything to initiate it. They just are, and someone's attacking them for who they are without even being provoked.
Welcome to Invite Sent. We are a live streaming show where we interview people and play video games.
Help is on the way, dear.
Did he make it in? Did he get all 20? Yes, way to go. If you'd like to be on Invite Sent, be interviewed, and play video games, please go to bubbagatter.com and request to be on the show. And I'll let you know if the invite is sent. All right, here we go. Let's go. Welcome. Good morning, gamers. Thank you so much for being here. Good morning, gamers. Thanks, Nick, out there turning off Ninja Stream. Obviously, you're going to see me crank some 90s. Although Ninja doesn't play builds any longer, but neither do I, because no builds is much better. But so glad you guys are here. Good morning, gamers. Thanks for being here on LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, Kick, TikTok, and Instagram. Thank you guys for being here over on Instagram Esports U. Hello, welcome to the chat. Please, we've got a really great guest today and a great resource for you guys. Resources within books and websites and talks and webinars and videos. And we're gonna be talking some tech and some safety for your family. So if you're a parent, or you're an adult, or you're a kid, or you're alive, then you definitely need to be checking out the resources we'll be sharing with you today. But next Thursday, we're going to be on the Rave Esports show, and we're going to be having some guests from Neutrik that are going to be talking about audio-visual stuff with the esports space, esports and gaming space. So please check that out next Thursday, noon Central, or Eastern actually, noon Eastern, 11 Central. And we'll probably have another author on the show this next week who wrote a kind of coaching guide for esports coaches. And we're looking to get on our show next week PJ Bannon, who wrote a really cool book as well. But today, we've got an amazing guest who is going to be sharing with us about this guide he wrote for parents, as well as many of the things he does in the safety and internet safety space. And I just want to bring in our guest today, Mr. Ben Halpert. How are you today, sir?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm great, sir. Man, I'm excited. I think last time we chatted was probably 2 years ago, maybe. I don't know, a while back. No, 2020. That's almost 4 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, COVID does a thing, right? So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
went to DreamHack
Mm-hmm.
2019 in December.
I remember that.
And I think we got it right after that. So yeah.
Yep. And I wanna go back and talk about you before we get into what you do for your org as well as all the different things you do. I want to ask you first, what was the first video game you played?
Duck Hunt.
Duck Hunt, yeah, let's go. Okay.
Duck Hunt, like,
Yeah.
I mean, of course I played, Mario, but
Uh-huh.
it was, on the original, NES. That's what I had growing up. So my favorite game was Duck Hunt because I got to shoot things. And
Yes.
it was allowed to do that.
Were you as cool as the rest of us and put your gun all the way to the screen? Make sure
I
you
did what I had to do to get the score I needed.
Yeah, all right. I didn't.
Trial and error. It's all about trial and error.
Yeah, I didn't even understand how it actually worked until I've been doing so much video game research over the past 2 years on like the first video like just history, and
Yeah.
I guess I didn't understand actually how the gun worked, and now I forget exactly how it works, but it's not the same as you would think, like a laser. It's not a laser, so
Yeah.
I forget how it works, but I remember it being different and it being pretty revolutionary for the space. So it was like your first. What was like your favorite game you played growing up? Video game.
You know what? I lied, and I can't believe
Okay.
I did that. I lied.
It's live.
We had an Atari actually before that.
Okay, what'd you
Okay.
play?
Yeah, it was so exciting. I think Pong. I think that was like the most memorable game that I have.
The Atari 2600
Yeah.
with Pong. Yeah.
Yeah.
1972.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Great
Okay.
stuff. So yeah, I was born into the Atari, I guess, and then the one I got to choose was the NES. So
Nice. Nice. Yeah, I think we had an Atari early on. My dad worked at Radio Shack, so we had all sorts of weird stuff. We got to mess with
nice.
it and build.
Oh, I mean, that was my favorite place to go.
Mhm.
They had the
100%.
best stuff to buy.
Yeah, we built all sorts of things and drove plenty of remote control cars. So you've now let's go. You've been career-wise, you've been a lot of different places. So I see Lockheed Martin, I see Clio, Groupon, and then the cyber health companies where you are now as well. One of the things you do, like, walk me through your career here a little bit.
Yeah. So I knew I wanted to do something related to business and technology when I was in college, but I had no idea what that was. And so I was fortunate enough to get a job with Lockheed Martin right out of school in their leadership development program. And in that program, you're afforded the opportunity to rotate to different departments to get exposure to different areas of management and IT. And you also go through organizational and leadership training, and they pay for your master's degree at the same time. So it's kind of win-win for me.
Wow.
The last rotation that I did as part of that leadership development program was in the information assurance group. At the time, it wasn't called cybersecurity, it was called information assurance. And I was there for a week, and I said, I love this stuff. Can I stay when I'm done with the program? They said yes. So that's how I kind of got started in tech and in cybersecurity and privacy and risk management and all that. And so I was with Lockheed Martin for about 12 years before I made the first change. But while I was there, I was exposed to quite a lot of information that anyone would be lucky to have that was into technology and cyber. And, I got to see the threats that were coming after our employees, coming after us as a corporation, intellectual property, individuals, right? Assets. And, I thought about it one day, like during lunch when I was having lunch, and no one that I knew anything about technology. Forget about cyber, forget about anything else, but they didn't know anything about it. And so I finished my sandwich that day and I started making a PowerPoint presentation on the risks that kids are up against when a parent puts them behind a computer screen. And at that time, we're talking like big, CRT type computer screens in like the kitchen or family room or wherever. We didn't have all the, no cell phones at the time, right? This was 20 years ago or more. And what the risks were, and then what parents could do to mitigate those risks and make sure their kids were as successful as possible as they grew up with tech. And so I started going to schools and doing sessions with parents. And from there, every time I went to a school, they'd say, oh, this is great that you do it for parents, but can you do something for third graders? Can you do something for middle schoolers? Can you do something for high school? What about our educators, our teachers? They need to continuing ed and can you, all this. So from that, I found the nonprofit organization Savvy Cyber Kids to actually create all these educational materials. And yes, I've been through, quite a few organizations over the years for my day job, because I got to pay the people, right? We know there's not much money, and there's no money, I should say, in nonprofits. That's the nonprofit part. But I don't take anything from the nonprofit. It all goes back. We do fundraising, and I just try to create new materials for parents and educators to help raise kids with tech.
Wow.
So currently, I actually am very fortunate. I'm in a company called the Cyber Health Company, and it's a blend of everything I've ever done on, the enterprise side, protecting employees from cyber risks, and everything I've done with Savvy Cyber Kids on helping parents raise kids to make smart decisions with tech, to think about privacy when they're going online and cybersecurity implications about what they do. Because basically we do cybersecurity and privacy for individuals and their families.
So Ben, you've been on a lot of big television broadcasts. I've seen you, CNN, Headline News, Good Morning America or something maybe, or something of the sort. Yeah. But the one I like the most, I think, is probably this Atlanta superhero run.
I know why you like that one. Oh no, are you gonna share a picture? I mean,
let's see a photo. Let's see if I can pull it up here.
Yeah.
You can't hear it, but
yeah. Well, while this is playing, apparently I was the first person ever to wear a cape and a mask, on set, and I was the first person to ever bring capes for on-air talent.
You did? Okay.
Yeah. So that's me, quite a number of years ago, looking pretty ridiculous. We used to do a 5K fundraiser. This is before COVID, where one of the things we do for our children's books that we have for Savvy Cyber Kids is we teach kids to create, and by the way, I was the only person ever to wear shorts on set. But anyway, it was all for the super run. 5K fundraiser. But in the Savvy Cyber Kids children book series, kids create superhero identities that protect themselves online. So whenever anyone asks, what's your name or where do you live, your Savvy Cyber Kid cyberhero name is all that you give. And so that's kind of the crossover to how we got to getting kids off screen, getting them outside with their families to do some type of exercise and as a fundraiser. So we stopped doing that since COVID, but that's definitely
that's
a
great
point in my life.
So you've been doing this org since 2007. You've been running this org since 2007, and you've been on, like I said, CNN, all these big shows. How are these shows finding you? And plus, is there one in Russia or something you did? As I'm seeing some maybe Czech or different language here.
Yeah, I believe it's RTVI. So that is it's not based in Russia. It's for Russian speakers around the globe, and they do their own news. And so they brought me on to talk about things like bullying response, cyberbullying, and other things. So basically, because I've been doing this so long, people just find me online, and I get random emails that say, hey, we want to talk about what just happened in Michigan, what just happened in California, what happened in Russia, or whatever related to X. Can you come talk about it and tell parents what they can do to help their kids? And so as much as possible, I say yes to those. Sometimes, the way the news media runs, I've learned, is that you'll literally get an email 10 minutes before they want you live.
Sure.
So because I actually have a job helping individuals, I'm typically helping them at that moment. So can't do as many as I would like. But yeah, it's been really interesting to watch since I've been doing this for over 20 years in this space. Before I even started the nonprofit, I actually created the 501c3 because I took the first children's book that I wrote and Help the Family Gets a Computer, and I sent the manuscript to every single children's book publisher that would accept an unsolicited manuscript because I'd never published before. and I got the same amount of rejection, like just form rejection letters. But at the top of one of them, there was a handwritten sentence that said, "Great idea. We can't make any money off this." And so that's why I founded the 501c3,
Okay.
because I knew that needed to get out there because of everything I saw, and with that written at the top. And so now we have 3 books written for kids ages 3 to 7. They're on Amazon. We have books for parents. The parent books. We have parent guides that are free to download from our website, savvycyberkids.org. And then we have, this brand new book that we came out with, Parents Guide to Gaming and Esports, because do you know what? Pretty much every living human games. And so what we hear a lot from parents is, my kid is always gaming. I don't know what I should do, but I'm worried. Or, my kid's addicted to gaming, or they're addicted to technology. What can I do? And so last year, or 2 years ago, we released Digital Parenting by the Ages. That's on Amazon as well. And that's like a step-by-step short reference that, if your child is in lower elementary, if they're in upper elementary, if they're in middle or high school, this is what you need to be concerned about as a parent. And this is what you can do to make sure they're successful. So we did that book. And it's a follow-on. December 31st, I published, pushed the button to publish it on Amazon, Parents Guide to Gaming and Esports, all about gaming, to help get parents into the right mindset about how they can help guide their children through safe online gaming experiences to make them as successful as possible, and kind of dispel a lot of the myths that are out there too about gaming.
Yeah. Man, this is amazing. You have a lot of books I didn't even realize. I mean, I love the webcam covers. I remember that was one of the first things I noticed, which was great. Which I need to get some of those for my kids' laptops. Yeah. I'm definitely gonna get some of those for my kids' laptop. Definitely. Okay, so this Parents Guide to Gaming and Esports. This is the meat of the conversation here today, because I really, in this gaming esports space, I believe in what you're doing. I believe in like all of us, and advocating, and like me advocating for parents to learn this. I'm on your side. And I've got, it's a snow day today, so I'm at my studio. My kids are back at home, and we've got a schedule for today about how much time they're going to be reading or cleaning or doing puzzle time. I got 3 boys, and my wife's out of town, so just trying to manage their expectations. And we do an okay job at it, but we need help. And I think going through this book, you let me see a copy of it, and I really appreciate the tools and the resources. Can you talk me through a little of those tools and resources, and why you find all these chapters beneficial for parents to be able to help educate themselves and their kids?
So we hear from a lot of parents that their kids, they're just on technology too much. They don't understand it. They don't understand why. Then if you actually say, well, why are you on your technology? Most parents are like, okay, I'm on my technology too much too. I get it. I'm probably a little addicted, right? But there's reasons, right? It's these devices were designed, to make us stay on the device as long as possible, so we can be monetized, right? If we're not scrolling in a screen, or on a screen, or tapping or clicking, nothing can be monetized for us. And so, companies hire people to figure out, how do you keep a human brain on a screen for as long as possible? And that's okay if you're an adult and you understand that, right? And that you can make your own decisions. But when you're a kid and you're 3 or 4 or 5, and your parents put a screen in front of you because, frankly, they don't know better, that they shouldn't actually be doing that when kids are so young, it has detrimental effects on the child. And so there's been, it's all shown. There's data for everything, right? You get delayed motor skill development with kids. Speech development is delayed. Hand-eye coordination is delayed if you have kids on screens too young. And so when it comes to gaming, we want kids to game because there are so many positives when it comes to gaming, right? The friendships that are formed, the collaboration that takes place, the thought leadership that occurs, like if you're, talking about guilds and things like that, and camaraderie that's built, there's just so much positive, right? Plus, at a certain point, you actually are working on hand-eye coordination and all that stuff too. But, there's a point where it's absolutely too young. But then once your child is ready there's the time when you should be having your child game in the same room as you, because you need to understand it, especially on the online role-playing games, right? Because they are gaming with strangers. Your kids are literally gaming with strangers.
Yeah.
And the child sexual predators that are out there, they know exactly what games their next target are playing, right? Child sexual predators, once they are caught, they're sent to prison. They come out for their crimes of raping kids, essentially raping minors and molesting minors.
Mm-hmm.
They're looking for the next target. They don't actually think what they do is wrong. They think the rest of the world doesn't understand them, and that's a harsh reality that most parents have to wrap their heads around.
Wow, yeah.
So
that's a good point.
it is on us as parents to make sure our kids know how to respond when someone they're gaming with, and they've been gaming with maybe for months or just a few days, says, "Hey, like, this is amazing. You seem like a great kid. What's your favorite sport to play off, when you're not playing the game?" Or, and they start the conversation, and, "Hey, where do you live? And what's your name? And what are your parents' name?" It just, you have to arm your kids for success so they know how to respond to that. And there's something else that we mentioned in the book that is really, really important for parents. And that is that if you are confident that you're going to have your kid play on a screen without parental supervision, you need to tell them that every time they're on technology, they need to keep their clothes on. And it may sound strange, but if you are not ready to have that conversation with your child, it means your child is too young to be using a screen without a parent right with them.
That's great.
It's just an unfortunate the world we live in today. The cases of sextortion are parabolic. Kids are killing themselves because they're being sextorted by these child sexual predators that are out there. And we as parents need to understand that that's a harsh reality of the world we live in. But there are so many things we can do to make our kids successful, and that's why we have this book.
Can you describe that compound word to us? Sextorted? Sure.
Yeah. Absolutely.
No, not in detail, just like what are the two words so people know?
Yeah. So extortion and related to sex. Mm-hmm. So, typical extortion would be like, if you don't do X for me, I'm going to make Y happen. Mm-hmm. Right. When it comes to sextortion, what typically happens is, you'll be gaming with someone online, or you'll be on social media, or someone finds you randomly on a WhatsApp, whatever, any platform. And they'll strike up a conversation. All of a sudden, you'll get the conversation will skew a little bit towards sexual content. And then they'll send a supposedly, sexual image of themselves. It's not them. Mm-hmm. They're a different age, they're a different sex, whatever it is, but they'll find something online and they'll send a picture of someone, maybe they'll send a picture of a teenager with their top off, right? Or something like that. And they'll say, well, now that I sent you one, you have to send me one because it's only fair. It's only right. Yep. I mean, excuse my French, horseshit, right? Mm-hmm. But we need to teach our kids that, people are going to trick you and they're going to tell you that, you owe them. You don't owe them anything. Right? There is no appropriate response to that except no response and block. But what we can do as parents is get them to the point where they never even get to that part of the conversation. And so when children get sextorted, when you have these people, these child sexual predators that, you might be meeting in a game that say, if you don't send me a picture, I'm going to release the last 2 days of conversations we had where you told me that you've done X with a girl or Y with a boy or whatever it is, to your parents, and then they guilt the kids. And so, another thing, parents need to talk to their kids, like, anything that happens, please come to me. I'm going to help you. Even if you made a mistake, please come. I'm going to help you. Mm-hmm. There's nothing that we can't fix. And so if we have those conversations in advance with our kids, that's the most important thing we can do. And so that's why we have the books.
So the obviously the other book by the Ages book, I'm guessing you're familiar with Social Dilemma movie on Netflix and Childhood 2.0 by the Bark Industry. Yep. And that they showed they had the 35-year-old marketing director pose as a 11-year-old or whatever, 15-year-old on Instagram. That story they did. Yeah. And like people aren't just, you're right. Parents aren't aware of this, and this is conversations. And do you feel like the middle school, high school years of phone use is really that gateway to being coerced or sextorted into friends at school, or especially young women being saying, hey, I need to fit in because other girls are doing this or other boys are doing this and they're showing things. Is that part of your ages book as well?
Yeah, in the ages book, we talk about that. We talk about talking about it earlier, because the second you give a child a screen to use independently, and look, I have kids, and your goal as a parent, like this is my parent goal, and I got it to happen. So I say for you should have one of your goals as a parent should be, when you tell your kids to keep their clothes on every time they use technology, their eyes should roll to the back of their head. That means you did a great job as a parent, right? Because you will never have an issue with that, not ever. And so if we can talk to your kids, the earlier the better, because if you teach a child something before they're 5, it becomes ingrained in them. Most people don't know that. Early childhood educators know that, but parents don't know that. They don't even tell you that when you take your kid home from the hospital. So that's why we created our Savvy Cyber Kids book series for kids, for parents to start reading to their kids at 3 years old. Because if you teach them about security and privacy and bully response and technology balance, when they're having fun and they're being read to, they're going to grow up and they're going to make really smart decisions when it comes to tech.
So I want to throw out this is what my counselor told me, my therapist, and I think anybody out there if you don't think you need therapy, get therapy. It's great, even if you just need to talk, because a lot of us don't talk. I will say I'm 41. I know you're probably younger than me, like you're in your 30s. Is that right?
Oh, I'm older.
So I'm 41. I'm an ex-millennial or whatever, X or in the middle, whatever it's called. I was born in 82, and I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday. We're talking about addiction and how I think he's 20. He's 20. So the way my therapy explained it is my parents didn't know how to protect me because things were so new, internet in the 90s. Yeah. But still, the shame that we carry from these things also isn't our fault, because our parents didn't protect us. / just because parents we didn't know how to protect or didn't know what to say, doesn't mean we should have the conversations. And I think what your book is doing is helping us have the conversations. As much as my wife and I, before we had our first kid 15 years ago, was trying to read the baby books on how to manage a kid, right? Like we did that before we were born, and then for 15 years we've just been trying to figure it out. And we got I guess 3 years ago, my son got into middle school, and having conversations about what does gay mean, what is trans. I hear these words, and there's this line I think most parents have to understand is, maybe at 10 I don't want to tell them those words because I don't want their innocence ruined, but at the same time they're not prepared, so then they're getting things that they're hearing or they're seeing. And so you have books for kids, books for adults, books for grandparents as well, I saw. That's right. Yeah. So this is the thing I think I want to get across to parents and advocate for your organization and your book the most is, we are just winging it as parents. We've got to stop. We've got to actually do research and do some work, and me included. So I want to ask about the gaming and esports side for this book. Where I know social media is kind of a big focus, but now that you jumped into this gaming esports for this book, and that's all what we do at the VEF. How do you think this book is going to help with addictions, helping a parent understand what their kid is yelling at the screen when they think they're yelling these crazy words when they're actually just trying to communicate? Right.
Yeah. So there is so much opportunity for our kids, with gaming and with esports, right? So more people watch live streams of games and tournaments than watch professional like classic sports, right? Except for football in the NFL. It's today, it's the reality, it's tomorrow, it's the future. It's not going anywhere except up. And your kids are going to have the opportunity. Maybe they're not going to go to college on an esports scholarship. Maybe they'll be on the high school team, but they might they love gaming, and that's great. So let them get a job in gaming. Maybe they're into graphic design. Maybe they're into production, right? Maybe they're into, storytelling. There's so many things that you can do and just apply it now to the world of gaming and the business of gaming, and make a lot of money and make a good living, and help others, have joy in their lives through helping with gaming. And the addiction piece is one of the tough places that parents have to navigate, because a lot of people, as a knee-jerk reaction to when they see a child being on a screen too much or having a tantrum when a screen is taken away, is they say, oh, your child's addicted. No, your child's most likely not addicted. What you have to do is you have to understand that there is a way to manage your child's screen time, and you have to manage your child's screen time to help them learn to manage it themselves. And that comes with time. So, when we talk about addiction, the difference between like using screens too much, gaming too much, and addiction is that once you stop doing things in the real world, like eating meals, taking showers, not going to school, that's when you start being moved to addiction. But if it's just, I would rather play a video game for 5 hours than sit around and twiddle my thumbs, because whatever, that's not an addiction. That means we as parents need to do a better job of finding activities off the screens that we can do with our kids, right? Like, I don't know, I taught my son how to play poker, not with money, but I taught him how to play poker.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah, same.
So, super easy. So we carry around a deck of cards when we go to dinner at a restaurant, and we don't use screens at meals in our family, because we all kind of agreed and said, you know what, we're going to communicate. It's fun, and we bring Uno, we bring a deck of cards, right? Like, super simple. It's keep in your glove box, right? So it's on us as parents to help our kids navigate and be successful.
I love that. Well, with these last 10 minutes or so, I wanted to look at these amazing conversation starters, which when I think of these conversation starters, I do think of, well, we've got that game of cards at the table. That's like a conversation starter. Like, what would you if you had $1 million, what would you do with it? Or how, whatever, if you flew to space, what would you fly in? Right. And thinking of that with this, but this, you said to me before the show, you're getting this information out as fast as you can, which I appreciate. And people can sign up to get newsletters or get notified of this stuff from your organization.
So if you follow us on Facebook, on X, on LinkedIn and Instagram, we post these conversation starters every week, based on what just happened yesterday, right? We want to keep you up to date, have conversations. So when you're driving a carpool, or when your kids are talking about something that happened online or heard about something, you can have this, and you can use these questions, to help prompt conversation, or just so you can be more aware as a parent that, hey, this is really happening in the world, and I didn't know it, but now you do, just by just liking and following us. If you sign up on our website under the family side, we have a family and educator site. It just gives you access to all of our free downloads. As an example, the grandparents guide is free to download from savvycyberkids.org. Half the guide, the first portion of the guide actually talks about scams that target the older generation and what we can do to help educate our parents. And then, we talk about what grandparents need to understand about technology today to talk to their kids about when the grandkids come over, and help them, manage their technology as well. So that's free.
Can I ask, is the grandkid version helpful to typical grandparents who know that their kids are going to teach them the technology? Or, I mean, I'm just thinking of a meme here, honestly, but I don't know why. This is probably not at all what your book is for grandparents, but because typically we're teaching our grandparents how to use stuff, but this is not what it is. It's not funny. It's
Right.
teaching them, giving the resources so they can talk to their grandkids, right?
Right, exactly. And it's to help a grandparent today.
Mm-hmm.
Gaming
Yeah.
is an arcade.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? So how do you get someone who grew up playing in an arcade and pinball machines to understand what our kids are doing on multiplayer online games right now, and first-person shooters and things like they just don't understand. And so we help kind of bridge the gap with that for parents. And that's one of the interesting things too, by the way. So what I do for the day job at the cyber health company is we actually do a lot of work with like the older generation, because they need to use all the technology that we have today, but they didn't grow up with it. They don't know how to use it. So we protect them when they go online, create accounts to make sure that their accounts don't get hacked and things like that.
So the hope here from all this stuff with all these resources is, and I love that you have them in different languages, by the way. I saw Spanish, and I think I saw maybe Russian, or what did I see?
So we have the Parents Guide free to download in Spanish on the website. For our children's book, the first book in the series, we have translated. So English,
French?
obviously, we have Spanish, French, German, and Hebrew.
Oh, yeah, there's German.
So when we get requests from educators to say this is a great resource, but we'd like to teach it to our kids, they're 3. They don't know English yet. If they're in another country and if they were going to learn it, they'll learn it later. And so this way, when we get requests, we provide resources. That's what we do. We're a small, nimble nonprofit, and we do the best we can.
Love it. Well, Ben, this has been great. Anything you want me to look at here on the website? There's technology pledge, I think, is one big thing that I think is helpful. How do you communicate that, and what's the purpose of the technology pledge? Yeah,
so you see a lot of times like, okay, I need to come up with rules for technology use in my family. So there's a lot of like print, like you can Google it, right, and download and print it out, and it's like this standard set. Well, that doesn't work because life's not static. Your kids are growing every day. They're maturing every day. Things change in a family household. So we designed this version to be dynamic and to change with you and your family over time. So we put in kind of suggested areas where you can click off and say, okay, and the best thing to do is to talk to your kids about it and say, you know what, we don't have any tech rules in our house, but we're going to start. And as parents, we know we need to do some things better too, right? Maybe we don't need to use our phones at the meal or something like that. So we're going to pick that as one of the family technology rules. And so it's a good conversation piece to talk to your kids. Like pick 2 to 3 items the first time you do it, put in your email address, and it emails you a copy. I do not have any of those email addresses. They are just to send you your customized copy to print and put on your refrigerator or wherever in your house, so that it can always be there as a reminder. And then once that goes well, come back and say, you know what, we did that. We killed this. We did a great job. Let's see what else can we do better with technology. We do it again. And so that's when we do that.
Ooh, then the custom family rules. I like that as well.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And you can, and I can't think of everything, right? So you're going to have to, it gives you a nice, that's what you pick. You pick 6 things, great. You just get the 6 things and you can print it off. But we also have these kind of, these cards you can download under the parent section as well on the website, where your kids can earn and level up, earn points to earn more screen time, like to play games or social. So that's under the if you sign up for families, you get access to that page, and then so there's things like cleaning your room, 10 points or whatever. You can add what they can earn points for, and you set as a parent, say, you know what, you want an extra hour of screen time this weekend, you got to earn 150 points by doing these things that are on the list. Good job. Let's see if you love it.
Well, I'm putting this in the chat. Everybody go to this link, go to savvycyberkids.org. Ben, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate you taking the time. This has been great. You get the 30-second hot seat. I know we're over time, but you get the 30-second hot seat to say whatever you want. Here you go.
Oh, wow. All right. Well, thanks so much. So we provide resources for parents that can help make your children as successful as possible as they grow up in this world full of technology. So follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, LinkedIn, and X to get our conversation starters so that you can use with your kids as they grow up with technology. Purchase our books on Amazon. And if you work in an organization to give back, that wants to support an organization to help educate the youth of America on technology, please consider a sponsorship for Savvy Cyber Kids. There's more information at savvycyberkids.org.
Man, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Sorry I went over time. I realized I was going until 11:30 in my head, and I know you got to go. So thank you once again. Let's keep talking. Thanks for quoting me on Amazon. And I'm definitely pushing this, and we're going to be going through this with my family and signing up for this stuff. And I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Again, thanks.
All
Thanks for helping spread the message.
All right. Have a good day, sir. Thanks.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Well, thank you everyone for being here today on Good Morning Gamers. I love this kind of conversation. It is super valuable, super important. If you are out there and you need resources, go to savvycyberkids.org. If you've got the need, if you need the help, have conversations, get in Discords, get in all sorts of other stuff to have conversations with parents and other ones out there. Thank you guys so much for coming today. Have an amazing day. I'll see you next Thursday or maybe earlier with some other book reviews. Have a good one. Bye.
Hello, my name is Christy Kester. As a public educator for the past 24 years, I have watched as interest in esports has exploded in schools across the world. Last fall, I joined the High School Esports League and helped to establish education. We have been working hard to integrate esports into education to create a scholastic gaming experience where students can learn, play, and compete. With our evidence-based, STEM.org approved gaming concepts curriculum, schools can offer 4-credit classes during the school day that help improve chronic absenteeism, student engagement, and mental health.
As a senior health advisor for High School Esports League and a former ER physician, I see the incredible need for supporting mental health in students in today's schools. In fact, schools at a formidable crossroads where pervasive and persistent decline in youth mental health now intersects with staff burnout. This has not been a sudden problem, but rather one we've seen over decades. The American Academy of Pediatrics announced in 2019 that 1 out of 3 students meets the criteria for generalized anxiety disorder before graduation. And the CDC reaffirmed that between 2009 and 2019, depression increased in adolescents by roughly 40%. The most telltale sign that grabbed all of our hearts was when the Surgeon General announced in December of 2021 that female adolescents increased their visits to the emergency departments around the nation by 51% for suicidal ideations. In the face of this, schools are desperately seeking solutions and ways to support those that struggle with mental health challenges. Now, these statistics that I mentioned are averages. We know there are some cohorts that are at higher risk, particularly those students who do not feel they have a safe place or a legitimate connection to school. That's where esports represents a tremendous opportunity. Students who are not currently involved with sports, music, arts, and traditional extracurriculars are left with minimal opportunities to make a connection. Yet many of these students find connections to their friends and other social outlets through online activity, including gaming. So, scholastic gaming represents an opportunity to leverage an area of interest into a legitimate class that meets state standards and expectations, all through an evidence-based curriculum that can simultaneously support self-esteem, self-efficacy, and life skills in many kids who desperately need it.
Hi, my name is Michael Russell. During my career as a teacher, I was fortunate enough to have the support of my administrator as I began the journey to establish the first 4-credit Scholastic Gaming course in the nation. At HSEL, we have the resources and data to help you speak with your administrators about the impact that Scholastic Gaming and esports can have for your students. We have strategies that can help you with acquiring technology and curriculum, such as ESSER funds, grant applications, and partnerships. The High School Esports League has invested significant resources in helping our education partners, and we are excited about this opportunity to help you establish Scholastic Gaming in your school.